Alright folks, the young lady from the Chevrolet place, we got the new gasket. She showed up. We got this gasket. I ordered all the new studs inside. I didn't know how this job was going to go. So this is the gasket that we don't need as well. We got studs for something that we don't need. Alright, those are our 3 deals. We got both of these nuts. Alright, that stuff we'll send back to Chevy. Oh, these are made from friends up in the North America. Canada. I've bought these before in Dorman. Dorman makes the perfect size soft plug for these. I don't remember what size they are though. Let's get a socket. I should have ordered 4 in case I drop one down into no man's land. Or get one stuck. We'll just leave that one right there. We'll open up another one. She's double bagged. Oh, Canada. I don't know if that's how the song goes, but I know that's what it's called. I know what it's all about, if you know what I mean. You guys know. you guys know that know. Yous know. Okay, let's get a socket. Get after it. I always wondered what an 11mm socket was used for. Now we know. Just a whisper more. The factory ones were just slightly past flush. There's some kind of special sealer you're supposed to stick on these. But we'll come back and get that when we're done. Trust me, they're not gonna leak. I'll tell you that much. If it does, we'll blame it on the Canadians. I gotta be careful, make sure my boy Josh doesn't hear me. He's from Canada. Plays hockey year round. Kid you not. At least he did. He was on a local hockey league. But then they started letting women play in his hockey league. And I think that's when he quit. Because he just can't hit a girl. Which is obvious. He can't hit a girl, but it made it hard for him to play hockey. Because, because of hockey, there's a lot of hitting going on. I think in his league, I can't remember if you have to take they have rules about it. If you're going to kick somebody's ass, I think they have to take their gloves off. I can't remember, but I do know that there's regulations to who you hit and how you hit them. I think they can use their fists, but they have to have their gloves off, which I thought was kind of odd, but he explained it to me one time. Because it enticed me. I'm like, I mean, I can't skate real good. I don't know how to play hockey. I've never watched a game in my life. But I got 47 years of penned up blue collar rage. I could hit somebody. But then he found out, there's girls on the team and you just can't get into a slugfest with a chick. We're going to take and very lightly snug up our pump here. Like to double check those. Now, what we could do is we could cut the key on. Everything's hooked up. Oh, we could fire it up. That'd sound cool. Or we could just cut the key on, turn the pump on. We should be able to feel the blower in every single hole. And, you know, get a pressure measurement. I think having the cat hooked up is not going to make that big a difference, but I'll be curious to see what our key on engine off spec is in comparison to what it was before, because unlike most cases, we took good notes on this one. Okay, power supply is hooked to it. Alltel's hooked back up. Keys cut on. We'll go to engine controller, active test, secondary air, and then we're going to do just the pump. Now this is the one that built 3 PSI last time. Valve completely closed. Okay, there's our pump static pressure, you know, barometric pressure. We're going to turn it on. Went up to 17.5. So yeah, still building about 3 PSI. Perfect. That's not where we failed. We failed when this valve was open. So that's where we go secondary air injection system, turns on the pump and the valve. Okay, you ready? 15, we're gonna say 15.3. Oh, it's doing the math for us, 1.2. I feel the blower. Yeah, 1.15 PSI. Turn off, baby. So before we had 1.5, so we've dropped her not quite a half a PSI, 4/10, because now it's at 1.15, right? Is that what it just said? So theoretically, because I know we're just on the cusp of too much key on engine running, but now we're at 1.15. Of course, manifold off, stuff like that. Let's finish getting her together. Slide this baby down in. Probably can let the car down a little bit now. Be a little bit easier. What the world? Oh, I've got to lift the gasket up just a little bit. There we go. The gasket's only going to go one way. Just so you know, we'll get all these bolts started by hand. We'll get all the bolts in loose in the head here and as well as in the converter before we go snugging everything up. All right, those are all started. Of course, we have the new bolts down, or the new gasket down in the bottom there. Just want to get these studs restarted. I didn't bother taking the nut off the studs or anything like that. We just put them back in, send them home. That's code word for smash them down with an impact. In case you're not familiar with mechanical lingo, I was just listening. Sometimes you can hear the ocean. I'm kidding, you can't. You can't hear the ocean. All right. Those are all started. Start in the middle, work our way out. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Whose lucky day is it today? This guy. Usually that would fall in the middle of no man's land. All right, that's that. Let me grab a 15. We'll nab them ones on the bottom. We need to go ahead and snug these up. Just did a tool of the day there for a minute. That's why these are already tightened down. Showed the people as you may already know or may not know, and if you don't, you have a little insight to the future. The DeWalt cordless ratchet. I showed that. I'm like, man, I use that sucker every day, and how has it not made it into the Tool of the Day series yet? I don't know, but it just did. All right, whoops. Almost lost it. There's that. Those are snugged. At least just under the torque spec. So you can come back through. Yeah, I do like that, as I was mentioning, this is the one I was talking about there. This one right here. You guys have seen it in a tremendous amount of videos, I'm sure. Just, we don't really talk about it. A lot of things we don't talk about. There's things you couldn't handle if I talked about them. But that's just one of those tools. If you run the right battery, that 5 amp hour battery, it's a good tool. Otherwise, it's not. Who thought that just broke? Good thing it was my ratchet. Holy crap, that scared the pudding out of me. But we don't have a Mac dealer anymore, so you know what you do with those? You go just like that, and then you go to Harbor Freight and you buy an icon to replace it. Simple. And that's my feelings on Mac Tools. Not a sponsor. You would think someday they would call me. Probably if I make them their own dedicated "Your Franchise Sucks" video, I'm sure they'll call. They always do. And that's why we don't take sponsorships. Because then you're forced to be nice, like, oh, without Mac Tools, I can never fix this car or go on with any daily tasks. Mac Tools, sponsor. Nope, our Mac guy got all upset. All upset and sad because we did not consult with him when we went to 410s and closed on Friday, because that was the day he came to our shop, was on Friday. So got all mad, yelled at Josh. I didn't get to see that whole incident until he already left, and Josh told me, he's like, oh yeah, he was all pissed off. I'm like, what's the big deal if I told you anyways? I'm not gonna not go on to 410s because it disrupts your business model. Just stop and see me once a month. Take care of your broken stuff. I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. I'll blow my money somewhere else. And that's the other thing. They don't like us because we don't carry truck accounts. We do that thing, oh yeah, pay for what you buy. Not big fans of that. They want that financing, boys. Don't get stupid. Don't get stupid. Can we get on that one yet? Yes, sir. All right, let's go find it. If you're watching Mac Tools, feel free to give me a call. I've got a few broken tools, which kind of stinks. I've had a Mac Tools dealer since I was 14 years old. I'm 47 years old now. I bought my first set of Mac Tools. I bought a 3/8 impact and a set of Mac Tools 3/8 impact sockets. A guy named Dick Berger, he was our Mac man at the time, and hell of a nice guy. That was back when your Mac and Snap-on guy were salesmen, and they took care of you. You needed something, boom, you got it done. They weren't just, you know, peddling tools, flat brim hats, and skinny jeans. It was like, they were real guys, real men. They were men. And yeah, he's since passed away, but he was probably the nicest, one of the nicest men I knew. I was sad to hear when he passed away. Yeah, always very, very polite. Just a great guy. I didn't know him really much beyond his sales route. He would stop at my mom and dad's house once in a while when I was younger. But he allowed me to get my first tool. Well, I'm not doing good with that. My first truck account. Don't worry, because it's sensor safe. It says right on it, sensor safe. It says somewhere. Get my first truck account at 14 years old. He gave me, I think, like a $200 line of credit. So that was kind of neat. And oddly enough, it's where I get one of my sayings here. You know, take this here for example, like that was a Dick Berger saying. That's what he always said. You know, he'd come in the shop, hey, how you doing, Eric? Yeah, great to see you. Hey, let me show you this here. You know, take this here for example, like, you know, he's kind of a fast talking guy, real neat guy. Never would swear if there was women around. Oh man, I tell you, that son of a bee, he'd say. So that's where I get that saying from too. It's kind of funny, some of the stuff that sticks with you is from your childhood memories. But yep, Dick Berger. Take this here for example, like probably the best Mac man we've ever had. The Mac man after that, he's still alive, as far as I know. His name was Keith. He was a really good Mac man. He was around for a really long time as well. Most of our Mac tool salesmen were around for a long time. They were lifers, you know. And then it used to be that way with Snap-on as well. Our Snap-on guy when I was a kid, when I was, you know, 14, 15 years old, when I first started doing this, started buying tools, his name was Dick Snedden. Now, I don't know if he's still alive or not. It's going back quite a ways. He was a good tool salesman too. Like I say, it was back in that era when men were men. And then since then we've probably had, I don't know, 20 Snap-on guys. I don't know. They only last a couple weeks and then they're done. Sometimes you'll have them for a few months, but they get into the franchise, drink the Snap-on Kool-Aid, and then Snap-on as a corporation absolutely destroys them as one of their vendors. It's a vicious, horrible company. If you ever look into their business model and what they do to their on the road guys, it is absolutely unbelievable. And they all have the same story, every one of them that comes in. And it's interesting, but if you're foolish enough to sign up to do it, it's your own damn fault. Yeah, what do they do to their people buying to their franchise? It almost seems like, you know, just a classic pyramid scheme. How they bury their drivers in debt and, you know, stuff they didn't order. These guys show up, they get home, and there's skids of tools that they didn't order. They can't send back. It's really bizarre. If you ever get a chance to talk to a disgruntled Snap-on employee, it's pretty curious to hear their take on it because every one of them has the same story. So get that lined up there. Well, that tab is broke on that side. That one is not broke. Let's fire it up. We'll grab a scan tool and we'll kick that pump on and we'll measure what our back pressure is, key on, engine running, valve open, pump on, phase 1, and see if we're below the threshold of, you know, the set criteria for that code. Contact. I'm really surprised that pump doesn't kick on its own. All right, secondary air injection. 1.85, 1.88, 1.8. We'll let her kind of settle out here. So it looks like we're going to say 1.8, 1.76. Oh, we got the smoke rolling out, boys. 1.72. All right, we're gonna say 1.7 pounds. Let's go see what our criteria was again. Why am I going to look it up when we wrote it on our page? Ding dong, I looked it up, went to write it down. I'm like, oh, you wrote it up. It's looking for 0.7 to 1.9. We're at 1.7. Problem solved. We're within the criteria, albeit quite close. But as I mentioned, these run right on the cusp of setting the code. So we're at 1.7, that was our max. I think I gotta come down a little bit here. She's still smoking pretty good. So 1.7, that's where it's steadying out, 1.73. We are below the 1.9er. Then like I say, if we come out, deadhead pressure, she jumps up about 3 psi, right? Yeah, 14.1 up to about 18. So that's our deadhead pressure, not a big deal. This just proves we got her cleaned out. 1.6, like I say, it's going to change as the idle comes down. But we're well within our limits. Well within our limits. We're about 0.3 of a psi under what we need to be. I'm happy, you're happy. I know the car's happy. And I think the money light went out. I did not turn it off. Right? We didn't have the battery unhooked or anything. Let's just see. Yeah, no codes, huh? Look at that. Interesting. I thought there, because I started her up, and she, you know, no codes. Hey, look, there's an engine light. Well, let's go see. I guess we could have checked the monitors in that last screen. GM's good like that. I like doing it here because we get little check boxes. Green light, red light stuff. Stuff that I can understand. Monitor's incomplete. Did we reset the monitor? We didn't reset the light. Right? Yeah, no. That's kind of bizarre. Man, am I going to look through my footage? Monitor's incomplete. 7. Man. What did we, well, that's kind of weird. I never unhooked the battery. We never unhooked the battery, and I never cleared the codes. We didn't have the PCM unhooked. We had air injection reactor unhooked, and that was it. Unscrewed the O2 sensor. And the battery never went dead. We didn't leave it sitting here with the key on or anything. Unless I'm an idiot, which is plausible. And more than likely. Let's see. I just need to know for myself now and just jump into the history. We're going to go back into that Impala. If I had cleared the codes, you would have thought I would have done a full system clear. Now this thing had like 16 codes in the body module, I remember. So let's see if for some reason, while this was sitting on my bench, if I did do a full system clear. No, see, body code still got 19 codes in it. That's weird, man. Because I would have done it from here. I would have hit quick erase out here. Bada bing, bada boom. Had a bunch of low voltage history codes stored in the BCM. Boy, that's bizarre. I don't know. Whatever, because we tore it apart, and then I came over. I had to steal the VCI module out of it, you know, for the Altel. I had to go work on a couple other cars while I was waiting for parts for this. No. Like I say, that we didn't, you know, battery's never been dead. I did not remember clearing the codes, and I don't think we had to clear the codes to do anything. You know, we weren't stuck in a test or anything bizarre. I don't know. I'll find out when I go back and play the footage. Maybe I'll feel stupid. But that's that. And, you know, if you're working on one of these, know that they are very, very sensitive. And like I say, I've had to fix some of these for other shops where, you know, they've swore to me like, hey, you know, we can't get rid of this 411. You know, we've pulled the manifold, we cleaned the ports, but they never took the soft plugs out. You know, they blew through them. They ran, you know, wire through them. They, you know, fished stuff up in there. You have to have these things spotless, and the only way to do it is to pull those soft plugs. And as I mentioned, you know, you can get the soft plugs from Chevy, which is the easiest thing to do because you know they fit right, but I do know for a fact that Dorman does make those, or they make a soft plug that works well. So if you want to get the ones from Canada, hopefully that focuses, you can get your part number on that. The part numbers are in the service bulletin anyway. So look that bolting up. Not an uncommon issue. Like I say, I'm just kind of surprised to see one of these because it's been so long, you know, since we've seen one. Most of these cars are in the crusher. You know, it's 11 years old, so that's about the time limit for the PRNY. The salt gets them, but this thing's only got like 54,000. I think it spends its life in the garage. Oh yeah, we did a video on this one. You guys remember the radio deal? Finding a used radio module. GM, you know, of course this is old, so they've discontinued all the parts for it. And we couldn't get the radio module, but we ended up finding a used one, and like United Radio had to, you know, re-virginize it for us. Whatever, something like that. I'll see if I can find that video, maybe link it, but I probably won't because I'll forget by the time I get to this video. So I guess all I'm saying is when you do the job, try to clean these out really, really good. So you have a fighting chance of keeping it below that 1.9 PSI threshold, and always check your work and make sure you're checking it with the engine running, because you see the difference between the engine running and not running. Yeah, 1.7, and then key on engine off, what was it, like 1.1 or something. But even before when it was broken, it was 1.5 and jumped up to 2.2 running. So big difference. You can't check these things just key on engine off. They have to be running, because that's when phase 1 takes place, right before preparation H. In the words of Dr. Evil. Anyhow, you guys go in that comment section. Don't be evil when you're down there. Only be good. Insty, Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.